Okay, right, so we're marking those 2 work pages, but it was on one big page for you guys. Okay, so the first one, the perimeter of that triangle, you had to just add up all the sides. So 6 plus 5 plus 10, and that gave me 21 centimeters. Then the area of a triangle is half times base times perpendicular height. So you should get 40, and then very important, centimeters squared. Okay? Right, then number 2 was the perimeter of that square. Now you could have said 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. I took the shortcut by saying 4 times 8. Okay? And that gave me 32 millimeters. Then the area of a of a square would be side times side. So 8 times 8, and that gave me 64 millimeters squared. You guys good? Can I skip? Okay. That's okay, it's okay. Wat is fout? Waarmee is julle besig?
Nothing, man.
Right, hands up, you're still copying. Okay, tell me when
Man,
you're
I'm just gonna ask before I get in trouble. Can I please finish this?
Ek sê mos julle is besig met
Man, you
strooi.
never got food me. One I just gave you because you never got lunch. Why didn't you?
What did you get?
We get at the hostel, man, at 2 o'clock.
That's what it was always like.
Yeah, man, I'm hungry.
Okay, you can finish it, but if you miss, you're gonna sweep my class. Right? No. That's an exception. No. Shh, I'm not eating. Right, can I skip? Okay. There's number 3. Number 3 was a rectangle. So it was actually length plus breadth plus breadth. Or you could have talked about width as well. Same thing. So 2 times the 15 plus 2 times the 3, and that gave me 36 centimeters.
I wanted to know what's the difference between the point and the because some
Point or bracket?
comma there because
Where you know?
I know that's why I put my hand back down. But but I don't know because
Oh.
what's the difference between the point and the comma?
Nou moet ek eers weer sien hoe lyk die prentjie. But lig gou op.
No, but like that's usually.
But was there a decimal? There wasn't a decimal.
No, I'm saying that's what all.
You got a point for a comma.
Yeah, the point or comma.
Oh, it's nee, ek gee nie om nie. Maak nie saak nie. It's just why we usually use the comma is because a point in math means no. What does a point mean? A dot. What does a dot mean? If I say AB dot CD times. Okay, right? So for those of you that did not know that, if I were to give you this, AB dot BC, it's actually AB times BC. Yeah, okay. So that's why over here, like at 4, I'd rather use a comma instead of a dot. Yeah? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it was this answer, if it is just the answer, the final thing, then it wouldn't be confusing to know would it be a dot or a multiplication sign. But if it was anywhere else in your calculations or formula or something like that, then don't use a dot because that means multiply. Okay. Right. Any questions at 3 or 4? Can I skip? Okay. Ooh. You guys must be quiet. Because there's too many of you speaking, and then I don't know, are you actually doing your work or are you chatting away and then not marking? So shush. Right, hands up, we're still copying here. No one.
It's really awesome.
I know, Spondoki. Okay. Number one, same thing. Number one was a triangle. So to get the perimeter, I just had to add up the sides. To get the area, half times base times perpendicular height. And remember, whenever it's area, we have to have the unit squared. Yeah. This is now the second worksheet.
No, but it's because we these three sides, and then there was the 9 was the perpendicular. And no, I don't know why it's doing this.
Okay, you done here? Right. Okay. This is worksheet 2.
Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to go. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming that the confusion is because of these two sides had a little at that. Right? Is that what's going on?
No, ma'am. The number that was there,
Yeah.
got confused with.
Just tell the side. Like, let me see another side.
We
No.
went around the mouse now.
Okay. But remember that whenever we have that sign, it means the two sides are the same. Right? Right. So any questions at 1 or 2? This was actually pretty straightforward. Right? Okay. Can I skip?
I have a question about the last one. This is now
Okay, I'm getting there. Hold on. That's the diameter. Are you at number 4? That was the diameter. So to get radius, I had to divide by 2. Right. Then there's number 3. That was pretty straightforward. At number 4, I quickly want to talk about that one. At number 4, you had a circle. You had a circle with the full diameter. Now that diameter was 18, right? Okay, but is my radius 18? No. So radius would then be 18 divided by the 2, meaning that should be 9 meters. You guys good with that? Okay, so that was the trick. I didn't tell you guys about that. I wanted to see whether you actually knew. Right? Yeah. One person's hand was up.
I still remember asking ma'am, checking in with ma'am, and I was like, yeah, it's exactly what to do. And then
You did the wrong thing.
I forgot to add.
There was a hand up over here as well? Yeah? Yes. Did I not send the picture of that on the group?
It's on the register form.
Yes.
Not register, but
I asked them, could someone send a picture, and then they said they posted it on the group. But I think I've got extra ones, so I'll give you one just now. Yes. Yeah. Okay, but I'll give you a printout now. Okay, right. So any other questions here? Okay, then I quickly want to go to page. I think on your page, or your page number would be 187. Just check for me, please.
And I've always struggled with it. Even in grade 7, I struggled with it.
Okay. Right. Okay. You've only got the Afrikaans here, so as we go along, I'll do the English. Page 187, also on the board, right at the top left-hand side. Have a look.
And 3 quarters.
Okay. Yes. You good? Listen. You can draw it from your book, and I'll leave it on the board. So please, just for now, look up and focus what's going on over there, because you've got everything in front of you, and it's only this one slide, and then you get homework. Okay? Right. So first things first, we've got a circle And then right in the middle over here, you'll see there's a little dot. That is going to be my midpoint. That little dot over here. Do you guys see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then the outer part of my circle, that part, we call the perimeter of the circle, right? Yeah, I'm getting to that. Perimeter means the outer part, right? And we talk about that. You'll see sometimes they use the wording. They talk about the circumference of the circle. Nou moet ek net vir my spelling reg kry.
Doesn't matter which one we say.
Most of the time they talk about the circumference, but when they talk about the perimeter, you can also know it's the outside. Okay, then we know that, and I think I'm quickly going to show you guys that over here. I'm going to delete it just now because I can't do it on that anymore. If I were to take a point from, or if I were to go from midpoint, if I were to go from midpoint of my circle to the circumference of the circle, that will be a radius. Okay, now radius can be here, or there, or there, or there, anywhere.
Ja, dan bedoel ik later. Straatstreek dat almal wat nou straat elke klas het dat net een leerder in die klas het sal stuur om 'n brief te maak by die portaal. Almal wat nou straat elke leerders het stuur een leerder in die klas uit om 'n brief te maak. Dis op gebruik die postbus. Dankie.
Just a little side note, you guys are not grade 11 for those that put up your hand to go first. Right, so you will see that as long as I go from midpoint to anywhere on the circumference of the circle, that would be considered a radius. Okay, is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So let's just write that. So that's what, there we go, radius. Afrikaans and English spelling is the same. Okay, so that's a radius. Then, if I were to take this full line from the circumference of the circle to the other side, and it goes through the midpoint, that's another thing. It must go through the midpoint. Then we call it the diameter. And the diameter is also 2 radiuses. Okay? So that's not written anywhere, but you can maybe write diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. Okay. Right. Then, this part is not on your sketch. So make sure you've got this. If I were to take a point on the circumference and draw a line to somewhere else on the circumference, but this part is important. Can you see it does not go through the midpoint? Because it is not going through the midpoint, then we call it a chord. Okay. Chord. You might have done this already. Yeah. Okay. You still don't. Huh? Okay. Then, so can you see a chord is a straight line? If you have this, it's on the circumference of the circle, and we talk about a pizza slice, no? Can you see it forms a pizza slice here? The 2 radiuses, and Nee. Dis nie wat ek beplan het hier, sê. That radius and this radius, these two, if I take that part of the circumference, it's not, yeah, it forms a pizza slice, right? But the outer part of that pizza slice, we call an arc. Okay. Ja, asseblief nie, ek gaan nie vir jou punt kan gee nie. So that's an arc. Now that piece of pizza that we were talking about just now, we can't call it a pizza, we call it a sector. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's just wording that they can use in tests, exam, exercises that we're doing. Okay? Right, so just so you know what these mean. Now, you guys are going to do, you already know what the formula is for the perimeter and the area of a circle. Okay, so now, I want you to look at, and I'll skip back to this again, exercise 16.2, and in your textbook, that's on page 190. I quickly want to run through those 4 questions. Okay, question 1 is straightforward. They want you to work out the, yeah, but you're only going to do 1 up until 4. They want you to calculate the, what? What's it called? Whoa, no, you don't have to draw it. No, it's fine. Okay, listen. See, this is what I meant just now. Question 1 says, calculate the circumference. So what are they actually talking about? They want you to calculate the perimeter. No. Okay, so calculate the perimeter and the area of a circle with radius of that and diameter of that. Okay, so that was straightforward. Then at number 2, Pinda is an athlete. As part of her training, she runs around the outside of a circular track that has a radius of that. Okay, so that's straightforward. They give you the circle. They're talking about the track, which is the circle, and then they give you the radius. Okay. Number 3, David wants to cut a circular tabletop from a square piece of wood, and have a look at that picture next door. Next to it. Okay. Piece of wood that has sides of 1,800 millimeters. Now remember, if that side is 1,800 millimeters, wouldn't that be the same as the diameter? No. If I were to draw a line inside that circle going through the midpoint, that's going to be exactly the same as what we have at the bottom and at the top, which is 1,800, right? Okay, so still what we have been doing, we're going to work with perimeter and area, but the way they ask it is just slightly different. Right, then number 4 says, a goat is tied to a post by a rope. The rope measures 6 meters. Okay, so kyk gou-gou. There's my post. There's my rope. Here's the goat. No? Okay, they're saying calculate the area of grass that the goat can reach to the nearest square meter. Okay, so what can this goat do? It can only go round. No? You guys agree? So what is this piece of rope actually of my circle? The radius. No? Is it okay? Okay, so would you be able to do those 4? Yes, is the correct answer. Okay, so your homework, and you guys can start with that now. It's going to be exercise 16.2. You only do number 1 up until 4. You can leave out 5. Okay, if you make a noise, I'm going to add 5. I would. The Afrikaans kids had to do it, so it's already written there. So don't make a noise. Okay, that is then it for the day. Thank you.